Hi guys, welcome to the Movie Reviewers 100, and this week is Harrison Ford week. I'm going to talk about the actor, why he's so important to me, but I'll talk about the film I've chosen this week, which is Blade Runner. I've loved this movie since I was a teenager. You know, I saw this film in the 80s when it first came out on VHS on rental. Worked in a video shop. I was able to rent the film out and see it. You know, I can even remember today exactly what the cover looked like, and just loving every moment of that film when I saw it. And I think I was a major fan way before it was even a cult hit. So it's which is good because it did become a cult hit, and I was able to then see you know, the other version, the director's cut at a later time. For me, though, I love all versions. I love the theatrical version. I love the director's cut. I love the final cut. I love it in all its formats. And it does work in different ways. But for me, the film works best thinking that Deckard is human, because there is a thing that's left open to say whether he's a replicant or if he's human. Ridley Scott has basically said, well, I've left enough clues to say he's a replicant. But for me, I think the film works best if he's human, because he's on one side of the coin, opposite to Batty, the main antagonist in the film, who is a replicant who values every moment of his very short life. But then you've got Deckard, who's human and has all the options available to him with a longer lifespan, but doesn't seem to cherish life at all. Until he realises later on in the film that the love of his life is a replicant and has a short lifespan, and also by Batty making him realise how much Batty values life by what Batty does at the end of the movie. So yeah, that's why I love Blade Runner. It's just a beautifully visual movie as well. I mean, copied so much, even by this year's Total Recall. You know, the look of it just doesn't age. It still looks as good as sci-fi films do today. It's a fantastic film. So I just want to say a bit about Harrison Ford, the actor, and why he's so important to someone my age. You know, if you're born in the 70s and you can remember when the Star Wars films first came out at the cinema, you know, he was Han Solo, and everyone wanted to be. When we were playing Star Wars, everyone wanted to be Han Solo. You know, Luke was there, and really for us, being a Jedi really wasn't that an important thing until obviously the last film came out, Return of the Jedi. I mean, Han Solo was the character you really wanted to be. He was definitely the coolest character in the first two films. Unfortunately, George Lucas decided to put him on the sidelines in Return of the Jedi and take away his importance quite a bit, which is a great shame. But in Empire Strikes Back, I mean, he was the man, and in A New Hope. And as I said, you definitely looked up to him in those two films. And then he became Indiana Jones, which goes without saying. I mean, one of the greatest movies ever made, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and just a movie I love to this day. I love all the Indiana Jones films, but Raiders for me is right up there with the best. And he then, you know, carried on from there, in being in some other great films. I love many of them. Witness in the 80s. I mean, you had Witness. You had later on you had Air Force One, where he was this really cool president of the United States of America. I mean, I even back in the day, I loved Mosquito Coast. You know, and films like that. I could watch him in more or less anything, and he's just a. I mean, he doesn't make so many great movies nowadays, unfortunately. But you know, back when he was making his best work, you know, he was just it was just great because he was this old-fashioned movie idol, and you don't you didn't really get that many type of actors, back in those days, that were like that, and not so much nowadays either. There's a few. There's still a few. I mean, I would say Liam Neeson probably is the closest to that definition nowadays. But yeah, and I would say the definition of film idol that men look up to in the past would have been Clint Eastwood and Paul Newman, Steve McQueen, those type of actors. Not necessarily just action stars, but people that can act and be good action stars and can do other things as well. They're diverse. You don't just admire them for being on screen and shooting them, shooting people and beating people up and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, basically, Harrison Ford, one of my top favourite actors. I think he always will be, for sure. No matter if he doesn't make any more good movies ever again. I'm just, I just will always love the films that he has made, and I think I know I'm going on a bit, so I'm gonna leave it at that, and I'll catch you later, guys.